So we live, y'all. See if we can get some people up here. The people start hopping on. Yeah, we got some people coming.
It's only y'all can see them, right?
Yeah.
Why you want to sing?
Nah, I just didn't know who it was.
Oh.
We're gonna ever macking. So we're gonna have a good time tonight. Have a real good time tonight because we got a special young man with us, and it's very super special for one of our guests. I mean, one of our hosts. Excuse me. It's super special. I think she's known him since he was not even really known yet. Yeah, they knew you before that. I mean, she's known you since for a long, long time. So, with that being said, DJ all night, we're gonna get right, man. Tonight, y'all, we have with us Mr. Brandon Childress. Mr. Brandon Childress, basketball extraordinaire, very great athlete. We're going to talk about a lot of different topics. We're going to talk to him about himself, his life, growing up. We're going to talk about basketball. We're going to talk about mental health in sports. We're going to talk about what it takes to become an elite athlete, the dedication, the commitment, the practices, so on and so forth. So with no further ado, got my man DJ all night, got my girl Janai Childress, and we're going to let her lead this conversation because she knows this dude very intimately. So with that being said, Janai, introduce my man.
Welcome. It's been a minute. We ain't been on in a minute. I want to welcome.
And I need to say this too. We're not going to be on next week either because I'm going to be gone. I'll be out of town. But
all right.
Continue.
Cool. Further ado, I would love to introduce my son, my firstborn, Brandon. Can I say your whole name? Reginald Childress.
Mm-hmm.
The front porch discussion, the whole government name. So just welcome. How are you today, B?
I'm blessed and highly favored. How are you, Ma?
I'm good. Thank you for being a guest on our podcast. And we're just going to have a good time tonight, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You raised him right. Right.
So be chill. So let's talk about your childhood. Where did you grow up? How did you get into playing basketball? And what was your first love of sports? I'll say.
I would say I was born in Detroit. My father was playing with the Detroit Pistons at the time. And then after that, we obviously moved to, DC at the time. And then we kind of bounced around PG County, lived in Upper Marlboro, spent majority of our time in Bowie. And I grew up in the DMV. I guess you could say I was a DMV baby. A lot of people, don't think so because I've been in North Carolina for the past, years from school and then even high school. So, we started when I started playing basketball. I started playing basketball in 2004. 2005, and that was a year. I think D Wade got into the league around that time, maybe the year before, and he was one of my favorite players. And watching him out there doing what he did at a very young age, at a very elite level, kind of inspired me to just try something. And I was playing football at the time, and shout out to Philip Newsom. He was one of my teammates at the time. He's the only white guy on the team. It was funny. And he played wide receiver, so I was just letting you know how athletic he was. And his dad was starting up a basketball program called the PG Ballers. And that was my first experience, playing basketball. He brought
Can
me
I tell him how?
Can
I tell him how terrible you were when you first started playing basketball?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
So like I said, Brandon started out playing like flag football. Then we got in a Boys and Girls Club, and like he said, the coach Newsom started an AU team. And Brandon was like, I'm going to play basketball. Okay, so I remember calling Randolph, and I was like, Brandon's going to play AAU basketball. And Randolph was like, nah, that's not how it works. No, you're supposed to play boys and girls and then AAU. I was like, no, he's going to do AAU first. And his first game, he was out there tackling y'all. It was terrible. It was terrible. And Randolph came and saw a game. He was like, oh my God, like this dude is terrible. He was traveling, double dribbling, like it was awful. But he got better. He was athletic, so you did good, son. So tell us about some of your AAU experiences. Like, what are your best memories of playing AAU? Because you played AAU for a very long time.
Well, the best thing about playing AAU is the camaraderie and the bondage you spend with guys that you develop relationships with even till now. I play with full pros. Bam Adebayo, Dennis Smith Jr., Markel Johnson. Markel Fultz, excuse me. And soon to be Aaron Wiggins. So, I mean, it just shows how, like, you realize how good these guys are at a young age and see the potential and just watch these guys grow. And it's funny, like AAU, a lot of people, start hyping kids up at a really young age. And I was never really, looking back on it now, I see why they did it, but I didn't understand. I didn't understand why they did that because you can't tell a kid's potential at 10 or 11 or even at 9. Like, we had 9 of them, we had national rankings, and it just didn't make sense. And looking back on it now, I don't even know if half those guys even playing basketball anymore. So, my AAU experience was a little different. Growing up in the DMV, played with some of the best organizations, that was in the area. Team Takeover was one of them. I remember when they made that transition from Triple Threat to Team Takeover. So I was on that first, program, with Team Takeover when they first started back then. And that was like 11 and under. When that happened, and then time goes by. Before my last year moving to North Carolina, I was playing with DC Assault, and I was on the second team. I'm not even gonna say a lot to you. And then I moved to North Carolina, and I like playing in the DMV and then playing in North Carolina. It was different. I mean, different. Like I had 7 Woods on my team. You know what I'm saying? Who's played at Carolina, transferred to South Carolina. Dennis Smith Jr. was a pro, went to NC State. Bam Adebayo went to Kentucky, was a pro. You had Quay Parker, who was at A&T this past year, started off at Tennessee, who, if you look him up, he can jump out the gym. He was a YouTube sensation. And Ty Graves, who played college ball as well. You had DeAndre Overton, who was a wide receiver for Clemson. We just had so many athletes. Like Jalen Seagal, I mean, he's at Fayetteville State right now, but he got 46 inch vertical. Like, I mean, just athletes just dunking at a really young age in the 8th grade. Like, people used to come watch us do warm-ups and watch us play. And by the time halftime get around, we up 30, and people just leave the gym because they already knew what was going on. And then going into my 9th grade year, that's when I started to realize, like, oh, like I got a chance at this. But I was playing behind Dennis Smith, who's in the NBA right now. So obviously, I was splitting minutes with a few other guys on the team, and then he ended up leaving, going into my 16U year. And I just over time, I just kept putting the work in. My father saw my potential. Like, my father, he was at Wake at the time, and he would go recruiting. But he would see, the work that I put in and how I played, and he would watch other guys play on the road, and he was like, yo, you're just as good as these guys. Like, I don't know why. You just gotta, be confident in yourself. And when I started putting the work in, and my favorite story is my father, I think the Wake Forest dad was fired at the time with Jeff Bezdelic, and that day we ended up playing CP3. AAU program in Prolific Park in Greensboro, and they had like the number 1 point guard in our class at the time because Dennis was hurt, which was Altarik Gilbert, excuse me. And I had a good game, and a lot of people was there. And like after that game, like my recruitment kind of just took off from there. And I remember vividly like it was yesterday, June 15th, at midnight was the first day, college coaches can start calling rising juniors. I mean, rising sophomores, yeah. And my phone was blowing up at midnight. Like my mom would be like, "Who is calling you at this time of night?" I'm like, "My coach." Why is the coach calling you? I don't know. I mean,
sure.
must be pretty good at this, Mom.
Is that what you calling them now? Yeah.
So my father was just like, man, enjoy the process. But I knew I wanted to play in the ACC. Like I just saw a lot of guys that I knew get to that level and dominate. Guys like Eric Green led the conference in scoring. Guys like Quinn Cook, win a national championship at that time. And I mean, so many other guys that I can name that played in the ACC growing up. Nolan Smith, who I still talk to this day, kind of inspired me to just be that guy to dominate in the ACC. And that's all I wanted, to play in the best conference there is. And a lot of people think,
go ahead. No, go ahead. You said a lot of people think what?
A lot of people doubted, that I could play, in the ACC. And I think every year, I definitely progress and show people why I belong.
So people were saying that you chose Wake because of your dad.
Which was BS.
Funny thing was that he had really nothing to do with your recruiting.
I ain't even tell him I committed.
Yeah, Brandon didn't even tell us he committed. We found out on Twitter. Like literally.
Wow.
He didn't tell Randolph. He didn't tell me. I actually saw it on Twitter and I was like, oh, he committed to Wake. I called Randolph. I was like, he was like, I didn't know. And Brandon had put it on Twitter. So tell us about that.
It's funny. My dad and I wasn't even like talking on. We weren't even talking at the time. Like I was mad at him. Like typical teenage kids, you know what I'm saying? You get in trouble, you don't want to talk to your parents because you got in trouble. So that's basically what it was. And I remember that same night I committed to Wake. It was October 24th of 2014. I was walking. A friend of mine, she had it was her homecoming for high school, and she was running from homecoming queen, right? She wanted me to walk her out. Didn't go out, and it was my old school, East Forsyth, before I transferred. So I was like, fine, I'll do it. So I walked her out, and then I just had a feeling. I was like, yo, you got an offer. Like, why are you waiting? And then it was just like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go ahead and do this. And then a friend of mine, Brian Crawford, at the time, who's from the DMV as well, he signed to Wake like a month before I committed. And he was a class above me, so it kind of just it made sense because the starting point guard that they had was leaving. He was graduating, and then when I was coming in, the only guards that they would have at the time at the point guard position was Brian Crawford and then myself. So I knew I would be able to get on the court as much as I can.
Question. Let's go back to that moment. You said in ninth grade. Was it that you was like, okay, I'm pretty good at this? Was it like after a game? Was it a compilation of moments that got you to that point of to that moment of wow?
It was just different moments. It wasn't just one particular game. It was just like I knew I wasn't strong enough yet, but mentally and like how I carried myself, like you couldn't tell me I wasn't the baddest thing walking when I was in North Carolina. Especially as a freshman, like a lot of dudes thought I was cocky, but I was just confident in myself. Like I really believed every shot that I was shooting was going in.
Right.
It was funny. Nick Young said this. I think Nick Young or Kobe said it. He was like, I didn't miss because it was good defense. I missed because it was on me. Like you had nothing to do with this shot at all. The reason why I missed. That's how much confidence I had in myself. And then AAU was coming around, and we were 15s playing 17. So we're playing like some guys at the time that were highly ranked at 17U. I can't remember some of the guys in that class, but I do know Kennedy Meeks was somebody that we played against in AAU. He went to Carolina, won a national championship there, and he was playing with Team United. And we ended up playing at his AAU team. He didn't play, but I just remember like that high caliber of class that was just around. And that would have been 2014 class. Yeah, it would have been the 2014. So we played against some of those top guys in that class at that time. And it was just great to compete against them. And then like when I would go out there and have a good game, and I was like, all right, cool. And then I took the next step. So that's when like my father was like, look, like you can come work out with me at Wake, every morning at 6 o'clock before school, I would work out. and then lift, and then come back after school, go back to the gym at night, and that was an everyday thing from the summer, even up to the season. And then once the season got around, I kind of just didn't want to do too much, relax. And in my sophomore year, led my team to the not to the conference championship, but to a Frank Spencer championship, like the Christmas tournament we have here, as a sophomore, and we won it. And to this day, I'm still mad. Should have got MVP, but it's whatever. Shout out to my man Larry Curry for getting that. And then going into my we were going to national tournaments. Went to City of Palms, played well at City of Palms. Then we had the Glaxo tournament, which is now the John Wall Invitational. I made all tournament there. And, we had guys, like Taco Fall. Brandon Ingram was in that tournament. Dennis Smith obviously was in that tournament. Harry Giles, who I played with, who's one of my closest friends. We were teammates. There. Then we went to Massachusetts for the Bass Pro. I think it's Mississippi. Then we went to Mississippi. I'm sorry, for the Bass Pro, and then Lonzo Ball, Dwayne Bacon. I can't remember his name. He went to Bishop O'Dowd, but it was like 6 or 7 pros, NBA guys on that all tournament team, and I was one of those guys that made the all tournament team. And Harry Giles was on that team as well. So when I saw that's when I knew. I was like, okay, I belong. You can't sit and tell me that I can't play at this level.
Now coming from the DMV, because I grew up in the DMV. I went to Dunbar, so and I didn't play ball, for Dunbar at the time, but I knew a lot of cats. Played around in different neighborhoods and all of that, so I knew how that competition was. What was the biggest difference between when you said from DC, from the DMV, and then getting to Carolina? What was the biggest difference that you saw as far as just how dudes balled out and because when I came down here, I went to North Carolina Central. When I came down here, I thought I was the hottest thing. I thought I was like you. Yeah. I didn't even play. I just played intramural ball. But I just thought that I was the hottest left-hander ever. Yeah. So, I know somebody that put in a whole bunch of work like yourself coming down here. It was probably on a whole different level. What was the biggest difference that you saw?
So I feel like growing up in the DMV, all DMV guys just got a nick for scoring. Just from everybody that I know, you just got a nick for scoring. They just know how to score the basketball. One or two things: they're gonna defend or score the basketball. Ain't too many pass first point guys coming out of the DMV. If there is, tell me. Let me know. But I know a lot of killers at that point guard position. It's just not just the point guard, but just in general. Man, coming out here in North Carolina, DMV, I guess they don't have the athletes that that North Carolina produces. You had dudes like Quay Parker having a 48-inch vertical in the 9th grade. It's just unheard of. He's in the 9th grade, head at the rim at 6'1". You know what I'm saying? You got Dennis Smith Jr., who's head at the rim on 2 bounce. You know what I'm saying? It was ridiculous. 7. He's not from North Carolina, but he was playing on my AAU team. His head was at the rim of one leg at 14. He had his first dunk when he was 11. How many 11-year-olds do you know had their first dunk in the DMV? You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. The athletics, they just built there. You know how you got country strength? Right. Bam has been built the same way since the 8th grade. He's I don't know if he's gained weight. If he did, congratulations to him, man. I hope he's tuned into this. He's been the same built, 6'9", 6'10", whatever, the White Howard shoulders since the 8th grade.
Yeah.
You don't see too many of that in the DMV. Just natural, you know what I'm saying? We got to work our way towards that. But it's dudes that's built like Bam, all around North Carolina that don't hoop.
Right.
The buddy I went to school with, he went to Central. Dope, bro, 6'8", regular guy. That's what I'm saying. It's different.
Okay.
Yeah, it is kind of different. My man, John Nathan Williams, shout out to him. His wife Janine is watching. I remember Nate in 6th grade couldn't even hardly dribble a basketball. Then came back for 7th grade, dunking in the 7th grade. I'm talking about however you wanted him to dunk, however you wanted it. So it's a lot of cats cats in North Carolina that just develop athleticism. Sometimes it just comes out of the blue. I don't know where it comes from. You know,
Trust me,
I'm gonna give Nolan Smith a shout out too. You mentioned him. I want to give him a shout out. He's doing a lot of stuff in the Bull City, out in the community, doing a lot of work. He's partnered up with my man Chris Keenan. I coached Chris in football in middle school and high school. He was working at Neil with me for a minute. I had him there. Real good guy. They've been doing a lot of stuff in the community, so I'm gonna shout them out. All right, Janai, what was you getting ready to say?
Talk to us about your transition from high school and how you adjusted once you got into Wake and the summer school, how intense it was with the work and your schedule. Talk to us about how that transition was. Because I remember you called me the summer school your first summer school freshman year. And Brandon said, "Ma, I can't do this." Ain't even a semester in. He said, "I'm gonna just put my name in the draft." I said, "You will not. You're going to finish. You will not. You're going to finish."
A lot of people don't realize how busy, how hectic our schedules are, especially as student athletes. I'm not just speaking for myself, but I'm speaking of behalf of all the student athletes that we have in this world. Depending on your coach, everybody got different time, zones of when they want to work out and stuff, right? But I'm gonna just give you guys an example. So you got two groups. It'll be a 6 o'clock group and a 7 o'clock group, depending on your class schedule, right? So I will always want to work out early to knock it out. So at 6 a.m., lift, but obviously you got to get up at 4:50 or 5, depending on what type of person you are to eat, some kind of get something in your stomach before you go lift. You lift, you come back, to the crib or whatever, you shower, right? Shower, you get situated. Now you got to go to class. Class is probably from 9 to 3. But in between that time, you got tutoring. So let's just say I had my first class from 9 to 10:30. Now after that, I'm probably, chilling and just seeing what I got to do next. And then you may have tutoring from 11 to 11:50. And now you got class from 12 to 1:45. And then you got a tutoring session from 2 to 2:50. And then, some people had class from 3 to 4. And then practice is at 4:30. And then our coach was always big on, be at practice early to get repetition. I mean, which was never an issue for me. So, and me being a freshman, I always made sure I was there first because I wanted to get my ankles taped. And obviously, with me and the youngest on the team at the time, like if you were late, dudes would bump you down. I did that as a senior. Like when I would have late classes, like anybody that was younger than me, hey, watch out. So, and then after that, you have practice from, let's just say practice at 4:30 or 5, depending on the time, right? We just say 4:30. Could be 4:30 to 6:30. And then after that, like we all competitors. We want to play one-on-one. We want to shoot out the practice. So that'll probably go from 6:30 to 7:30 or 8. And you don't even realize it. Now you got to go back to the locker room, shower, get situated. Then now by the time you really done with everything, it's 9:15. Now you got to balance, okay, I got friends outside of basketball. You got to socialize. You know what I'm saying? It's like when Salem State was down the street, A&T was up the road. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, let me go pull up on the homies out there. So, and then you got to balance that between like, all right, do I want to go, visit some friends, or do I want to knock this homework out? I got to pay for the type. So now you got to be up all night doing that. And it's all about just balance. You know what I'm saying? But like our schedule was just always something to do. And I think like now being older and realizing like how important rest is now. So the biggest adjustment that I had to make from high school to college is managing time and understanding what's really important and take care of your business.
What's the toughest arena you ever played in?
Toughest what?
Toughest arena or toughest crowd you ever played in front of?
Toughest crowd? Duke was always up there. Duke. Tennessee was rocking. The game was at 1 o'clock. Sold out. Sold nothing but orange.
Wow.
Everywhere, bro. It was ridiculous. I've never seen nothing like that. Xavier, Syracuse. Trying to think, man. We played against Arizona my senior year in this tournament, and they had a fan base like no other. Villanova fan base is crazy. We played Villanova at College of Charleston. And it was almost like a home game for them.
Wow.
We lost, but the amount of fans that was there from Villanova and the supporting cast they had was ridiculous. And they had 2 DMV guys, Josh Hart and Chris Jenkins.
Chris Jenkins, yeah.
Yep.
I'm glad to hear that you managed to balance that life and athleticism, athletics, and academics and all that. Because we went to Central, we didn't play sports, and I don't even think I had that balance because Central had this 10:40 break every Wednesday. So I give you an example of my schedule. Drop all your classes and only have 11 hours, so you're not even full time. So 10:40 breaks happens at 10:40. So the night before, you just getting zooted. I wake up at 9, get dressed so I can be out at 10:40. Be out at 10:40. Hang out for the whole hour. Got a class. Yeah, I'm 45 minutes late to class if I go at all. Then after that, go back, hit the cab, hang on the yard. Then go back to the dorm, get with the fellas, do something else. And you ain't heard nothing about no school, no class, no school.
How much time you have? And here's the thing: you just said you 45 minutes late to class, right?
Yeah.
Down to you. It's us being athletes. My dad used to tell me like, go talk to the teachers. Not telling you, can't stay behind, but just talk to them. Let them know, like, you got a hectic schedule, You may be 1 or 2, 5 minutes late to class because you're trying to catch up, getting food and things like that. And some teachers was cool with it. Now, those that weren't cool with it, oh my gosh, we'll get an email. They'll send an email to the coach like, this player was late. Now you got consequences and repercussions for being late. So now you probably got a 4 a.m. running session or 5 a.m. running session with the strength and conditioning coach on top of that 6 or 7 o'clock lift that you have.
That's crazy. Yeah, I gave up the athletics after high school. It was a wrap for me. I wasn't trying to do none of that. We gonna hang out. We gonna have some drinks. We gonna chase some skirts on campus. Class
Lord, when we won the
secondary.
championship, oh my gosh.
Class was secondary. I had to learn quick though. I will say my first semester sophomore year, after they gave me that pink slip, you start to realize what's most important. Get that little slip saying you're going home and you start to wise up.
Right.
I used to hate it for the athletes. I would see them doing what you're saying, even at Central back then. We weren't even a Division I then. It was just CIAA. They would always have to be up early in the morning, staying things late, missing parties, all kind of stuff. I felt bad for them, but some of them did what they had to do, and they made it to the league. So I applaud them for that.
So
we made up the partying for him, so
Right, but he still got it, and he still had a good college experience. How can I ask this question? How did you find time to become a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, and why?
Shout out to my mentor Kevin Graves. For those who lived in the area at the time, probably know who he is. He played a huge role in my life, and Carolina Diamonds was my AAU team, was spelled with a K, and the symbol of the team was the diamond. And obviously, that's pressure. Pressure makes diamonds. So going back to when he was coaching, and we had another guy on our coaching staff at the time named Steve Rush, who crossed at AK as well. Not AK, I'm sorry, A-New, excuse me, at A&T, excuse me. And I would see them wear like shirts that shit, like these Greek letters on it. I didn't even know what it was. I'm like, what is this? And then we would have like a day called Diamond Day, and KG would have a bunch of noobs, just come nursing us and tell us what was going on, and just different things about life. What is it that they do? Just giving us a different look, outside of basketball. You know what I'm saying? Because not all of us on the team is going to make the NBA. Of course, everybody believe that, but it comes to a point where you gotta just understand like the ball gonna stop bouncing one day. What else? What else do you want to do? What else are you good at? Just try this and try that. And I was like, okay, some good dudes. And I started noticing over time that these guys would call and check in with me and just like really some helpful guys, man. Like my guy Reggie Witherspoon was one of the guys that I talked to this day. We actually talked today, actually. And he was one of the first few guys that kind of reached out to me after that day. And then just we always talk throughout college. And if you go on my Instagram and look on my page where I posted a picture when I crossed. He's in there as well. So, but Kevin Grace played a huge like part of me in pledging K shot. And the reason why, how did I find time? Just like everybody, you're gonna find time for what you really want, you know. So, I mean, you just balance. It's the biggest thing. So you learn how to time management, and you really got to key in and lock in on what you got to do to become what you want to become.
Right. Okay.
Well, Janai, how did you find time to become a member of Delta Sigma Theta? with being the kindergarten teacher and all of that.
You find time for what you want to do. You find the time.
There you go.
I mean, it's just you find the time. If it's something you really want, you do.
You figure it out. You will figure it out. Exactly.
There you go.
Figure it
B, talk to us about transitioning from after you graduated from Wake Forest University, and potentially you weren't too sure if you were going to get drafted, the NBA, what was going to happen. Talk to us about your mental state during that process.
At that time, COVID hit mid-March, like the week after, my season ended in college. So
that was the ACC tournament.
ACC tournament when we lost to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yup, in a week, not even a week after, a couple of days later, actually. That's when everything was shut down. And when that happened, when I found out, nobody was doing no summer league, no workouts or anything like that, I was like, wow. And I felt pretty confident in myself about it. That year, I was the ACC All-American, honorable mention. And I just felt like a lot of the guys that were in my conference, we're going to get invited, and I'm, sure the agent I signed with, could get me in there and potentially on the summer league team. So I didn't want to. I did the point. I just want to control what I can control. And then as time went by, when the league didn't even know what they were going to do, it was time to figure out some things overseas. So we ended up going to Greece, and I actually found out the day of my mother's birthday. And I went down and drove to Maryland at the time to surprise her. I spent some time with her before I left, and then I got the call, and it was like, yeah, we need you to leave August 4th. I said, huh? We need you to leave August 4th. I was like, wow. So I got to leave in a week, really. I was like, yeah. All right, well, there it is. So counting my days down, spending time, making sure I see everybody. And I'm at the airport, I had like 4 or 5 bags. I don't know what I was thinking. I had two and a half bags full of shoes, and then the rest was just clothes and other things that I need, like my PlayStation stuff. So never doing that again. I didn't realize how expensive that was. So
yeah, your father wasn't too happy about that.
Yeah. So my mom was crying.
I did.
Everybody cried. My mom was crying. Stepmother was crying. My stepsister was crying. My father might have shed a tear. My girl at the time, she was crying. And I didn't cry, but it was definitely just like a weird feeling seeing like a lot of, everybody so emotional because I was leaving. So.
And I think we were emotional because it was so far. It wasn't like you were going, like you've been away before, like you've gone to China. That some of you went to China and did the work in China and you came back. But it was just like Greece, like it was just so far. And then like COVID had hit and we couldn't go visit him. And so it was just kind of rough. And it was like, Dad, he's like really gone, really, really, really gone. And then he gets all the way to Germany. And what happened in Germany, son?
I got stuck.
In Germany. I
had to stay overnight in Germany. I think it was something. So I know that to enter Greece, you gotta fill out a barcode. But in the barcode, the date of my arrival to Greece was wrong. And then and instead of the date of the arrival, the date that was put on the paper was the date that I was leaving Germany. No, yeah, because it was 2 different flights. So I didn't understand what was going on. You know, obviously there was a language barrier. What they explained to me just didn't make sense. So I wasn't happy. Called my father. I'm blowing everybody's phone up. I called everybody. I called my agent. I called the team that I was playing for. I called them, trying to figure out, yo, like I'm stuck in Germany. Like, what do I need to do? So eventually we figured it out. Stayed overnight, got the correct barcode this time, filled out the right information. Now I fly to Greece. Get to Greece, and it was like welcome. I was like, oh, I appreciate it, you know. So I get there, and it was just weird just seeing everybody. And 2 bags of mine got lost in the airplane. Like, well, 2 of my bags were stuck in Germany. So I only got 3 bags. 2 of the bags were shoes. 1 of the bags were clothes. So all my essentials and stuff were gone. So now I had to go and buy all the essentials, like my toothbrush and deodorant and everything like that. Not to mention, like, when I landed August 5th, no, I'm sorry, August 6th, I had 2 a day that day. Like, I landed that morning at 10. I had practice. I missed the morning practice because of the flight, but I ended up practicing in the afternoon at like 4. No sleep, no nap, no nothing.
Wow. And it was the time difference. What was it? 6 hours, 7 hours?
7 hours ahead.
Yeah. But your whole total travel time was what, like 27 hours or something like that?
Like 18 hours.
Right.
18 hours. I go to Greece. I started, just getting the hang of things, getting used to being with my family for so long, getting used to being with myself. I had to force myself to learn how to cook for real.
That was a FaceTime call every day. Ma, how you make this? Ma, how do you make this? He got it though.
Yeah.
He can make spaghetti real good.
Spaghetti on the chain. Y'all need somebody to know that beach hill special. Just holler at me, man. I got you. Nah, I mean, it was cool. And then, like, I'm gonna get to the basketball part. It made me realize what being a professional was about. So I'm not afraid to tell the story. So when I was over there, my first game was a Champions League qualifier. Played well for a rookie, really well. I think I had like 13-5. 13 points is a lot of receipts because of their style of play. Because they don't want their point guards to be not like their scorer. Most of the guys are pass first point guards. You know what I'm saying? But for me, I've always been the guy that can do both. And had a good game, and a lot of people were very impressed with how I played. And time goes by. The Greek league is here. I played well my first game, and then the second game, played good, but we lost the game. And my very first game there, I think the owner of the team walks in the locker room and says, "This isn't a game. This is war." And a lot of people don't know this. Like, they will send you home in a heartbeat. Like, you have 1 or 2 bad games, they're sending you home. And I was one of those guys. But the difference was I didn't have a bad game. I just didn't play. It wasn't like me and the coach didn't get along or whatever. And if you was to watch our game, like, guys knew who were, I knew and I felt like I was the best guard out there. And I was. But the coaches never allowed me to go out there and play. And then so when I got released, they told me I wasn't experienced enough, which didn't make sense. And I was like, if I'm not experienced enough, why did you sign me? Right. Like, what am I doing to show you that I'm not experienced at all? So, I was, just frustrated with that. I was over there for like an extra 16 days before I decided to fly back home. Flew back home, kind of reset my mind. Started working out again, making sure I was good. Then I get another call to go to Cyprus. I go to Cyprus. I fly from Greensboro to Chicago, and I was about to get on the Chicago plane to fly over the waters, and they tell me before I leave, you cannot get on this flight. I said, why? Because you don't have a valid COVID exam. Like, what are you talking about? So they wanted a CPR exam, right? A VCR, CPR, I can't remember. But I had them getting a rapid one, and the reason why, because the team gave me a contract on like a Friday night, and the flight was that morning. I can't schedule a PCR exam over the week. Everything was booked up. So I'm like, I just got a rapid. So
you talking about the COVID test?
Yeah, the COVID exam. Yeah.
Oh.
So I get there. They tell me you can't get on the flight. Now I'm scrambling around. I'm calling the team. I finally get in touch with them. Instead of trying to, figure out a way, because like in American Airlines was going to allow me to get another flight without paying. All I had to do was get a valid exam. So these dudes canceled the contract in Chicago. I'm in Chicago and they canceled the contract.
Oh,
I
wow.
figured it out.
Wow.
I'm stuck in Chicago. Thank God I pledged. And the reason why I pledged because I didn't have to spend money in a hotel or anything. I went over to my frat brother's house. Shout out to Justin Peace. He let me sleep on his couch. And then I left the next day. Went back to North Carolina. Started working out again. Then I get another call to go to Estonia, which is right outside of Russia, in Lithuania. I go out there. When I fly there, it's a blizzard. I landed at like Sunday morning at like 2 a.m. Had to quarantine all day. Then we had a game the following day. And I go out there at 25, like 3 assists, first game. And this was a 3-game trial. It wasn't like they didn't offer me like full money yet. You know what I'm saying? This is a 3-game trial. The second game I played at home. First home game, it was like 23 and like 6 or something like that. Played well. Then the last game we won. So we won 3 straight. Obviously, I signed and they extended my contract for the rest of the season. Going to win streak, and I didn't realize, when we were going to this win streak, we were top 3 in our league. We were top 3 in our league, and when I was playing well, one of the teams that I was on before, called. It was interesting, and it was just like, yo, y'all cut me, bro. Like, because I got player of the week, I got player of the month, like in the league or something like that. And I was over there, so finally, like I'm back in my groove. I'm back playing, and I'm having fun with the game again. My last game on May 4th, suffered a season-ending injury. Torn piece of cartilage about this big, right there, about that big in my knee. Came off a ball screen, felt my knee pop, and I knew immediately something was wrong. I get the MRI, and I got an X-ray. And then the MRI, and they, I sent it to my doctors at Wake, and they was like, "Yeah, you torn. You got a piece of torn cartilage in your knee." And when I found out, I was like, "Well, how long is the recovery process?" I'm thinking it's like, all right, 2 months, 3 months. Nah, they said, bro, 9 to 12 months. I was sick. Like there wasn't nothing anybody could say to me at that time. So.
Yeah, he was bad. It was terrible. He was like, "Mark, you don't understand." I'm like, I try to just be positive. I'm not an athlete. I don't know, but he was mentally. He was like, "I'm done."
I was done with this shit. Like that's just how it was. I'm like, bro, I'm done with this, bro. I ain't never been injured before. Never, ever. Like knock on wood. Like I ain't never really had no severe injury like that. So when I got hurt, it was just like, yo, like, what is going on? So then I'm like, all right, cool. So I stayed there for the rest of the week until I could figure out some flights. I left on May 10th. I left May 9th, excuse me, and fly back to America on May 10th. May 10th, I finally go see the doctors, and they're like, okay, cool. So they scheduled the surgery on, the first surgery was on the Wednesday on May 12th. All right, so I get it. They go in there, they take the cartilage out, and they just cleaning my knee out. So I gotta build my quad muscle up, try to get my range of motion back. They was like, look, we want you walking by the time you come in for the second one. I'm like, hold up, there's 2? I was like, yeah. They had it. So somebody, rest in peace. I don't even know who his family is. They had to, that like a donor had to give me his cartilage. Somebody had to die for me to receive the cartilage that is in my knee right now.
Oh, that's great.
Like that made me appreciate like the game of basketball, just appreciate life a whole lot more. Like somebody had to die for me to prolong my career for the game of basketball. And here I am right now to this day, still trying to fight to get back, making my way back, it's on the court, wherever it is, whether it's here or back overseas.
Oh, it'll happen, bro. You ain't have to worry about it. That's definitely gonna happen. Definitely gonna happen. It's a young man that I kind of mentor him in a way, and actually his mother is my mentor, Daniel Bryan. Shout out Big D, shouting him out. I hope he watching. If he is, say something. D. He started a business and a nonprofit organization called Me, and motivated and empowered. This young man had a car accident. He was a star football player over at Enloe High School in Raleigh. He had a car accident back in 2019. It was right when my wife was starting to go through the worst part of her situation. He had a car accident. The joint ripped his mouth over, crushed his chest, everything. He was on life support and all this other stuff, man. And they said he wasn't going to be able to play football. And so he really wanted to play that next season. And so once he came to, because he was out for like weeks, and realized what was going on with him, the doctors was telling him he would never play again, this, that, and the third. And he just wouldn't believe that. He wouldn't believe that. And first game of the season, he was out there starting. It was crazy how fast he healed and how he pushed himself and pushed his body and finished a whole football season. He's now at A&T, but he's not playing ball anymore right now. I think he's going to go back because he started back working out. So I think he's going to slide and try to get on the team eventually. But hey, if you see something like that, you good, B. Good. You good.
I mean, I know it ain't gonna be no overnight process. So for me, it's just just keeping my faith, and that's one of the things I've been battling. Just having faith. It's not that I didn't got anything like that, but it's just one of those deals. Like, why me? I never cheated the game. Like, I always outwork. I always hung my hat on outworking everybody. And there were times when I just felt alone. Like I had, like when I got hurt, there were people that I got hurt May 4th. There were people I haven't talked to till this day on June 17th that I have not talked to since June 4th. There are people that I have not talked to since I landed in the United States of America on May 10th that I still have not talked to. Those loved ones and families and, friends and everything. And I mean, it was tough. And I'm just like recently, probably like a few days ago, just now really starting to get back to my way, getting back to just being myself, kind of just enjoying the small things in life. And it really settled in when I thought about like, yo, somebody died for me to get to college in my knee. You know what I'm saying? Like and every day that I pray, it's painful to get on my knees and pray. It is. But just for somebody like for that to happen, I mean, like if I wish, hopefully, soon I can find out who this college belongs to. And it's time for me to retire or do something special, or when I do make enough money to impact the community in any kind of way, I want to do something for that family.
Yeah. Well, I heard you say why me, and when I went through the ordeal with my wife, I had to switch that up. And I would say, why me? Why this happened? That's why me. But then I had to look at it and say, why not me? And I realized that the situation I went through, a lot of guys wouldn't have made it. A lot of men would have, their wife is gone, they'll break down. And through me taking my journey, a lot of people have come to me and told me I've inspired them. They like the way I've handled myself, carried myself, so on and so forth. So you're saying, why me? Why not you? You're strong enough. Hearing you talk now, your mentality, your faith, that's shining on somebody else that you don't even know is watching you.
Yeah.
They see you, they see how you're going through. You're inspiring and motivating somebody. They're knowing they can go through something else and they can at least lean on what they've seen in you. And you're strong enough. God gave it to you because you got the power and the strength to take it. Nobody else might not be able to do that. Mm-hmm. So why not you? You got it. You good.
Yeah, you good, bro. You good. But let me go back a little bit and see if we can do something. Brandon, was your mom and dad like the AAU parents that we hear about in today's game that are jumping on the court and fighting with the refs and all of that's going on in there?
Queens in the building.
AAU ball now.
Nah, like y'all see that room back there? My father was always in the back. Like you never saw him. Like he was at the game, but you would never notice him. He was never that parent to rah and do whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because not too many parents played at the level that he played at. So when he would tell me certain stuff that I was doing wrong, like I just look over and he'd be like, "Stay low," or like don't get too deep in the paint. That's my dad. Now the woman that is on my left, right here, but Her? My mother? Oh my goodness. She ain't fight the refs. She ain't cuss nobody out. But she would cuss me out. And I'm gonna tell you this true story, right? My sophomore year, my father is on the road. We're playing on the road against our rivals. Having a pretty good game. A really good game, as a matter of fact, a really good one. And I got hit with a cheap shot. But I was so mad. I was so mad. I wanted to I didn't want to fight and get kicked out of the game, but I wanted to let dude know, like, what are you doing? So I kind of pushed him. And I get a text. You know, my coach was like trying to talk to the refs, like I was pushed and da-da-da-da. So I sat down for like the majority of the third quarter. And I just remember a shadow just being over me. And I looked in the shadow. The shadow was a woman with short hair, glasses, with her arms like this. And I'm looking, and all I hear is, come here. Ain't going on. So I'm like, all right. So I get up, I walk around. She take me, you know how you like go to a high school game and you got the bleachers and you got the space like outside of the bleachers. Yo, we go over there. Mother giving me an earful. Like one top 5 worst cuss words ever. I'd rather her just slap me in the back of my head at that moment than her just cuss me out right then and there. And I'm just like, I'm defending myself. And oh my goodness, I don't want to say what she said on the live, but it was bad.
Yeah.
So hold on, I go back in the game. She's still kirking. Remind you, I'm cooking. So like everybody like talking to me like, be Brandon. My mother, yo ass should have been doing that to get it, like just going crazy. So I'm like, man, whatever, you know. My mother thought I was waving her off. It wasn't towards her. It was towards my teammate. Yo, Mike Muse called the timeout. Oh my gosh, yo. I just remember being jerked by my jersey, and I'm like, yo. Oh my good. Thank God we won. Oh my goodness.
There's a game going on, Janai, and you are parenting.
No, the thing about it was I wasn't that parent to apply the pressure. I know he enjoyed the game. I wanted him to play and play well. So Brandon is an emotional player. So whatever he's feeling, you're gonna see it on his face. You're gonna see it in his body language. And I used to tell him all the time, it's good to play with emotion, but we don't need to see all that. You know, and I could see sometimes, like even when he was at Wake with his dad, and they would get into it on the bench. And I remember one time he had bumped Randolph, and in my mind, I'm like, Randolph gonna kill him after this game. He's going to kill this dude after the game. And I would just be like, oh my God. But he was just so always passionate about the game. But I ain't play that. I ain't play with Brandon. Brandon tell you, I didn't play with him as a child, did I?
Well, we know you didn't.
Listen.
By a lady that didn't play either.
We had a first rounder living in my house, bro. Living in our house. Harry Giles, the 20th pick, or the 19th or 20th pick of the 2017 draft, was living in our house. Quay, and Harry. And Darian Slade, who's potentially about to get drafted the following year in 2022 for the NFL draft. All living in my mother's house. My mother didn't care about none of that. Darian's 6 foot, 210 pound DB running a 4-4.
And she ain't care. She get in his chest.
Quay 6'1", 185 pound pogo stick jumping out the gym. Harry, a 6'11" freak of nature. 200.
I had them crying. One night. We're not gonna go into detail of the story, but I had all them crying. I did.
Not I, but.
No. That's why Quay loved me to this day. When Quay left for school, Quay was leaving to go to Tennessee. And I kept saying, Quay, pack your stuff. He was like, oh, Miss Janelle, I'm gonna pack my stuff. He did not want to leave. I was like, Quay, get out and go to school. Goodbye.
He had to be at school like the next day, the following day at like 8 a.m. or something like that.
He would not leave.
He with a pack and didn't want to leave. And then when it was time for him to leave, it was almost like it was one of the greatest goodbyes ever. watching them two be so emotional.
Yeah.
It was definitely like a dual moment. You know what I'm saying for all of us.
Yeah.
But my mother was
Yeah.
off the chain, yo. Like don't let the glasses and the nice smile fool you. She was off the chain.
Hey, you know I know her, so
Yeah, yeah.
she ain't fooling me.
Like
She
I
ain't.
call
I wouldn't say I was off the what?
man, rest in peace, Aunt Melody. Man,
Oh
listen.
yeah.
I used to
Yeah.
call her and be like Auntie, something wrong with your sister, yo. Like she wilding.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Rest in peace, Mel. Rest in peace, Mel.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a little trio. and well, now it was a quad because you had Raquel the Pitt, Janai, Jocelyn, and Mel. That's crazy, bro.
See, but the problem was Jocelyn, Raquel, and Mel was spoiling. Brandon, especially Jocelyn. She's the softy one. This my nephew. I'll be like, girl, nobody gonna hear that crap right now. No. But it was definitely
all of them. Trust me, I know.
Yeah. It was definitely good times growing up. They were good kids, right? It was easy to raise them. I was always fearful raising African American young men, especially when Brandon started driving. I petrified, and Brandon, So I always say an extra good little prayer for them every morning, still to this day. But they didn't give me any problems growing up, really. Just the typical teenage stuff, but I'm just blessed that we were able to raise them well, and Randolph and I co-parent pretty good right now. It's good, and I'm glad, and I'm super duper proud of both of them. Like I'm so proud of Brandon and so proud of Devin. Brandon's getting ready to be 24. Devin's turning 21 in August, and they're just great kids, and I'm just very, very thankful. So
yeah, you've been blessed. You've been blessed, and they've been blessed to have great parents. Brandon, my biggest question for you is that hopefully we had some young athletes come through this, so they're gonna watch it later. We got some parents of guys and girls that are athletes and have aspirations of making it to D1 and to the leagues and all those type of things. What advice would you give to someone right now? No matter the sport, but definitely a basketball player that's really wanting to try to take it from middle school to high school to college to pros, and pros being whether it's NBA or overseas. The mentality they need to have, the commitment they need to have, the discipline. What would you say to them?
If your child is definitely passionate and truly love the game, and not just doing it just to have friends and a social life, but truly love the game, invest in your child. Believe in it. You know what I'm saying? And all it does is put more confidence, in that person. Like if all of us sitting here now, we all lifetime friends with DJ all night, and he don't believe he can DJ, and we all tell him every day, like, yo, just spin it, like just like you can do it. Like if you can make us vibe, imagine what you can do with 200 plus people in the room, yo. And just watch it go. You know what I'm saying? What you need? What equipment you need? You know what I'm saying? And we getting him in that equipment. Next thing you know, first of all, he ain't got no choice because we bought it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's how it was growing up. Like my mom, she would, shout out to Keith Vaney. My mom would pay for the workout, and it was like, you going to the workout, you just gonna go ahead and maximize, the workout, or you gonna come in here and BS and waste my money. And I didn't want to go home and deal with that pit bull. I don't want no smoke. I'm gonna go ahead and come in and maximize these workouts and realize that I got some potential behind it. All right, cool. I'm gonna maximize these.
Why you laughing so hard, DJ, all night?
Look at that smirk on your face, girl.
Nah, listen. So we played Duke this past year, right? Not this past year, but my senior year at home. First time we ever beat Duke. Playing like crap the whole game. The one I hit a three going into overtime, right? Hit the three, tie the game. Throughout the court, and then first overtime starts, I started hitting shots and making plays and kind of just going from there. And then the second overtime, I started really, knocking down some big time shots that kind of just put us over the win, right? Put us over the hump to win the ball game. We stormed the court. and you know I'm being interviewed and da 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 da. I go to the locker room. I have 49 missed calls from my mother. 49 missed calls from her. I called her. I'm like, yo, what are you like? Why are you calling me? You had me stressed out the whole game. I can't believe you guys gonna wait till the second half and the two overtimes do something like you almost had me cause a heart attack. I'm over here at the house watching the game, jumping up and down. I done twist my damn ankle. And I'll remind you, I just did an interview with the lady that was on ESPN at the time. On national television. Do another one with CBS right after the game. And then I come back and it was like, yo, I'm getting cussed out for doing something for winning the game. Like, what are we doing? And y'all hear her talking about me being emotional about basketball. Yo, she's emotional. She cried more than me my senior night.
I did cry because it was emotion because it was like I was there when your dad went through, you know, all this stuff. So it's like surreal. It happened again. So to see you go through that, and it was an amazing time. Yeah, I thought so.
Got there, yo.
What?
We cried the moment we got there.
I know. I was like graduating.
I'm talking warm-ups. Like before walking out there, she's crying. Yo, like wipe your eyes. Like first of all, we're wearing white. Do not get makeup on my warm-up shirt. It's not happening.
Oh my God.
Matter of fact, I'm about to find that picture for y'all right now.
What picture?
Oh no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Don't worry about it.
He said, sweetheart. Don't worry about it, sweetheart.
Listen, I'm about to show you how this picture of her crying. My senior night, yo.
Well, any parent would. And then, you know, it was just, you know, he missed out on the graduation because of COVID. So they didn't have a real graduation. He didn't walk. And, you know, he didn't get to experience those things. So I was emotional on it a little bit.
Well, if he was like me as far as graduation is concerned, I only did that for my parents because I was not trying to be out there in that heat at Central.
I don't know if you can possibly see it, but my mother is crying in this picture, y'all.
You can't see it, Brandon.
Yo, I see it. There she is.
Look at her. I was crying.
Yeah.
Crying.
Hey, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, Brandon. Get my number from your mom. Send me the picture. I'll put it up on Facebook on Front Porch. We will put that up.
Y'all ain't even see my grandfather. My grandfather is so he's like a 2 feet away from everybody, and he was one of the people that I wanted him to walk out there with me on senior night. You know, senior night you got the player. You know what I'm saying? With my dad on this side, my mom on this side. You know, so my brother, my grandfather, my stepmother, my sister on that side. We all walking out. And my mother is just like gripping me up tight as if I'm taking her to the movies. Like, just, yo, you about to mess my shoulder up, yo. Relax. Man,
whatever.
Let me tell you what she did. The poster that y'all saw in that picture, right? My grandmother wanted that poster because my grandmother has my father's and she wanted mine. Where's that poster?
I already know who won that fight.
It's downstairs.
Downstairs.
I got it.
I already know.
Thank you.
Grandma asked me where the poster. I was like, "Hey, mom, I knew who got it. I don't know, grandma."
Me and your grandma good. We good. Oh God, well, B, I thank you for being on the show tonight.
And I think y'all have me.
I really do.
Man. It was good. It was good. Good hearing your journey, your story, and definitely seeing your faith, the mentality, the commitment you made to the sport and to your family and to yourself. You know, next time your mom come down, man, you got to come over and chill with me for a little bit. You know, hang out, no doubt.
B will smoke a cigar. B will smoke a cigar with you. He smokes with his dad sometimes.
Hey, we definitely can do that. You know, that's what my thing is. But I'm gonna say, Keisha said make grandma a poster. Keisha, that's funny because I was getting ready to say
Keisha, grandma got her post. Ain't nobody tripping.
Give grandma a poster, please. As a matter of fact, take that poster from downstairs and ship it to grandma, man. You can get another one,
Her
man.
her and my grandmother are so similar. Like, those dominant. You know what I'm saying? Like, just
But we love each other.
Two alpha females was in there about to get it on over that post.
Everybody in the family is an alpha female. Every one of them. Like, not all of them. Both sides of the family.
But I know how Janai's mom was. Yeah.
Stories.
Yeah. Well, you know. That's why I think she kind of liked my dad, because he was kind of like her mom. He gonna curse everybody out. He don't give a damn.
Yo, your daddy was hilarious.
He gonna keep it professional. He was professional. He gonna give you that work.
And I would tease. I'd be like, "You sure you alpha?" He'd be like, "Don't start that with me, girl. Don't you start that with me."
He gonna give you that work. Boy.
My mother, she ain't hold no punches for nobody.
Nah, never.
Nah. My mother. Was it you or grandma that cussed out one of my coaches? Well, didn't cuss him out, but told him that I couldn't go on the AAU trip because the bathroom wasn't clean.
That was your grandmother.
Yeah. Like, we had 6 players this one tournament, and obviously with 6 players, we had 5 players, excuse me, because one of the players got sick this day. So I was the last one to get picked up. My grandmother held me up. She told my coach, if you want him to get in this car with you and go pursue this basketball game, you need to help him clean his bathroom. And I told my grandmother, I clean it after we win the championship, but I'm gonna come back, knock it out. We good. She ain't want to do it. She ain't want to hear that. Yeah, but y'all know how it is. She ain't want to hear that. Yeah. All right, cool. So me and my coach was upstairs at 6:30 in the morning cleaning the bathroom. On the way out, she said, and don't come back with that first place trophy and see what happens.
Oh, wow. Ooh. The pressure.
Grandma was no joke.
Grandma's like, you can clean the damn bathrooms, and you can go out here and get this trophy. If you come back without the trophy, then I'm gonna have some movement when you're in. You're gonna get
Yeah. And she was the same way. Don't let her fool.
Yeah.
But you had to be. You know what I'm saying? I had to be. Because Randolph wasn't there, I mean, physically, because he was overseas playing ball. So I never really had to beat my kids. My thing was just all mental. Like I was just tough on them. I was like, I'm not raising soft boys. I'm just not gonna do that.
Yeah. He was looking like, huh? So I assume with all that abuse going up, especially the mental part, pledging was a cakewalk.
Right.
She'd already prepared you mentally.
Hey. No matter.
Yeah.
Like she used to make us do wall. Like we would do wall shit, like walls, like wall shits. Like mom, what are we doing? Like on the table, what are we doing?
She was pledging y'all.
Yo,
she was hazy, y'all.
Mother used to,
you gonna pledge a Childress family.
You know, my mother was a school teacher. She had a dictionary that was this big, yo. So I think I didn't do well on my math exam, right? She was like, all right, cool. Hold your homework like this. I mean, hold the dictionary like this and do your math problems. So I'm holding.
Wait, I did not.
If he's telling the truth, if he's telling it, it's got to be the truth.
Tell him before we go. Tell him the half-ass story. I'm gonna
services now for what you did back then.
Which one?
So Brandon, real quick, because I know we gotta go. So Brandon was in Catholic school. He was in 7th or 8th grade. Randolph was overseas playing ball, and they got chores. So Brandon would, I swear y'all, Brandon would always half-ass do something. Half-ass clean the bathroom, half-ass take the trash out. Like everything was half-ass. So he would take the trash out, wouldn't put the bag in. So I just got tired of it. So one day it was it was January. It was cold, real cold. And he on his Catholic school uniform with the slippery Catholic shoes on, and snow outside on the ground. And I dropped him off at school. So the school was in a rough neighborhood, not too rough. It was in a rough neighborhood.
That's right across the street from Mall.
What?
He was right across the street from Iverson Mall.
Okay, it was. So I dropped him off like 4 blocks from school, right? So we were talking in the car just regular, and I just finally pulled up, and I was like, "Get out!" And he was like, "What? What you talking about?" I was like,
listen, "It was a hill, like to get to the school, and then the bottom of the hill, like to the right side, I'm not gonna say it was the projects, but it didn't look like what we was living at. You know what I'm saying? Like I lived over there by Flowers, some nice houses. You know what I'm saying? The Silver Spoon. You could see everybody was well fed by the Silver Spoon. Over here, we was there, it wasn't so much of that. You know what I'm saying?
Anyway, I dropped him off 4 blocks from the school with snow on the ground, and I told him to walk the school. And he said, "Why?" I said, "Because I'm half-ass taking you to school." So that's what I did, and I pulled off, and he got to school. The principal called and asked me, "Was something going on at home?" And I told her, "Yes, it is." And she said, "Is everything okay?" And I said, "No, he's half-ass doing stuff." So I half-ass took him to school, and she said, "Okay, I'll give you a call later on."
Mm-hmm. Put that chick at her place too.
Yes. He wouldn't play.
Shut
right?
it down. Shut it
right,
down.
Brandon?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Of
Yeah.
course.
Wow.
It's
Well,
all
DJ
good.
all night, give us a little something, man, on our exit, bro. If you got
Love you,
something
Be Chill.
for us,
Love you too,
We'll
man.
do though. We'll do so.
be
Enjoyed it, Brandon,
chill.
man. I just
BC0.
followed you on
I
IG.
touched your poster up a little bit. I put that BC0 across it, you know.
I
I had,
appreciate it, man.
had to do that Joe Biggs touch. I like that poster though. It's dope, man. That's real fly, man. So peace out, my brother.
Appreciate
Be
y'all.
easy.
Thank you.
Yes. I had a good time tonight. That was
So did
dope.
I.
I'll see y'all a little later.